Hello everyone, how are you? I hope everyone is great, and yes, I'm also doing great. Now today we are going to study a very interesting topic, and why don't let's try studying through a story. So now let's say I have this house in this village and I'm trying to move from here to buy some milk, and I have to use this road over here and go slowly and bypass all this and reach this dairy milk store where I'll buy some milk. Now let's see, when I move from over here, I travel some distance. Now what that distance could be, let's say this shop is around half kilometers from my home, and I have to travel this half a kilometer distance to reach this shop. Now what would be this half kilometer? Oh yes, so half kilometer I know is half of 1 kilometer. And what is kilometer? Yes, a kilometer has 1000 meters. So when we say half of 1000, what we mean is that we will multiply 1/2 with 1000, and let's try to write this meter separate. Yes, and now what we do is we multiply and it becomes 1000 by 2, which is nothing but 500 meters. So this 500-meter distance I need to travel. And also when I go over here, I ask for the price of the milk. Now what price I need to mention, or I need to ask, and before asking the price I do need to know the amount of the milk which I need to buy. So probably this guy over here, he might ask me that how much do I actually need to buy. So the amount of milk which I need to buy is, let's say again, it's like half, but half of what? Will it be meters? Oh no, the milk is measured in something called liters. So I'll say, okay, I'll use half liters, or L, to signify. And what is half liter in smaller unit? So the smaller unit would be like, let's say I'll say 1 liter has 1000 milliliters. It has 1000 milliliters, and when we take half of it, essentially what it means is I'll either multiply by 1/2 as I did here, or I'll simply divide by 2, and after division I get 500 milliliters. I get 500 milliliters of the milk which I actually want to purchase. But now as I know the amount of the milk which I need to purchase, I also want to know that how much money do I actually need to give to the shopkeeper. Why? Because, well, I actually have this amount which my mom gave me, and my mother actually gave me 100 rupees note. 100 rupees note she gave me, and she told me that whatever might be the price, yeah, whatever might be the price, you give that money and get back the remaining. So I asked very politely to this guy, even though there's a lot of rush over here, there are many people, but I asked that, sir, what is the price of 500 milliliters of milk? So let's say I'm buying this brand which is local, and local brand is very good, so that, you know, when I give some money to my local people, they can have something in their house, they can buy something. So instead of buying from other brands outside, I'm buying from a local brand, and this guy is charging me for that local brand milk. Let's say 500 milliliter, it is costing me around 25.5 rupees. How much for a 500 milliliter? So for 500 milliliter, which is actually quantity, for 500 milliliter quantity, I'm getting 25.5. And how much do I get back? Okay, so now over here I do see this strange symbol. What does this symbol actually signify? Alright, so I see, oh yes, I remember my friend saying this is something called point. This is something called point. And I also remember my brothers and sisters saying that this is called something decimal. So yes, we'll actually be studying in this chapter regarding decimal. So this word decimal, let's try to go in detail that where do we actually need decimals and how many kind of decimal cases are there and what does actually decimal mean in general. Now when I see this number, which is a simple fraction, 1 out of 10. So 1 out of 10 means, if I write here 1 out of 10, what does it actually mean over here? That let's say I have this one piece of chocolate, or candy which is quite big, and I'm dividing that into 10 parts. So if I'm dividing that into 10 parts, what actually happens is the one part is actually what we call 1 out of 10. The one part out of 10 is actually 1 out of 10. And when we divide them into 10 parts, which is 1 out of 10, when we divide them into decimal, what actually happens is we put 1 inside, 10 outside, and there is a way of division that you put point over here and the 0 here, and then you say the multiplication table of 10, that 10 ones are 10, and 0.1 is actually what the value coming in decimal. Now let us explore these possibilities, and we are assuming these were 10 divisions actually. So let's try to make some space and see that what do actually 1 by 10 mean, and 1 by 100 and 1 out of 1000. Now we also have 1 out of 100. Now what does 1 out of 100 mean? Let's say it's my birthday, and I get like a few pieces of, let's say, a bread or something which I baked in my home. So I actually want to distribute it, and I want to distribute it equally, as we said. I want to distribute it equally. So when I'm distributing this equally, and I need to inquire that how many children and teachers are there in my school. So let's say I have in my school 80 kids, especially in my class, in which class I'm studying. So I have in total 80 students, and there, let's say, 20 teachers, including principal and staff members. So 20 plus 80 means how much? Yes, that's equal to 100. That's equal to 100. So now if I want to distribute them equally, yeah, and I'm giving this each part, I'm giving to each person. So how much should each person get? How much piece should each person get? So what I'll do is I'll see the total amount, that is the total number of people. I'll put them as down in the denominator, and I'll see the total number of people are 100. I'll put them down, and how much they receive, because they are equal 100 divisions. They are equal 100 divisions. So essentially what one person will get is 1 out of 100. 1 out of 100. Now similarly, when you are dividing something into 1000 pieces or 1000 blocks, and when one person gets, that will be 1 out of 1000. Now how can we convert 1 out of 100 into a decimal? So let's try to remove this over here. I'll delete this portion so that I can convert this into decimal. So to convert this into decimal, what I need to do is, one way is a division, which is I put 1 here, 100 here, and I understand that I have to make this 1 bigger. One way is to put a point like this, yeah, and then I still see that this 10 is lesser than this. Then what I do is I put a 0, and when I put a 0 over here, so I see, okay, yes, 100 zeros are 0, still it's lesser. Then I put another 0 over here, and now I'll say that my final value is, let's say, you can write it this way as well, So my final value is, you get exact division, my final value is 0.01, and you can put a 0 here. So when you divide 1 by 100, your final value comes out to be 0.01, where this 0 over here actually indicates that your whole number value is actually 0, and your decimal part, which I write over here, decimal part is 0. Your decimal part is 0. Now one question which I want to understand, that if half a kilometer is actually, this was 100 actually. So if I know this half a kilometer was 500 meter, then if I want to understand that, can I convert this back? Let's see. So if I want to know that how much 500 meters would be in terms of kilometers, I'll say again, how much 500 meters could be in terms of kilometers. So probably I want to look back and see what actually I can do. So let's make some space, and I'll delete this portion over here, and we'll try to see that how can we actually convert a given number from meters to kilometers. So probably I want to write into two columns, that I'll write a column as meter and the second column as kilometers. So I do know, yes, 1 kilometer has 1000 meters, and now actually I want 500 meter is how much kilometer. So I'll write 500 meter is equal to how many kilometer, I don't know, and so I may even put it as unknown number, which is x. And now what I'll do cross multiply. So I'll do cross multiply like this, and I may want to write it this way, that 1000 times x, 1000 times x equals to 500 times 1 multiply 1, and we actually need to get this value over here. So I'll leave this alone, and I'll write x equals 500 into 1 is 500, and this 1000, which was actually getting multiplied, since it's getting multiplied and you want to actually shift it on the right hand side, there's a rule of transpose, and the transpose rule actually say that your sign, when it shifts from one to another, gets inverse or changed. So it's multiplied and it goes there and gets divided. So actually you get, when you divide, you write 500 and you check the number of zeros over here below 1, 2, 3, and you shift from right to left, 1 and 2 and 3, and you get a point over here. So you get the final value as either 0.500 kilometer, or you actually write 0.05 kilometer. That's the same way. And now I actually want to understand something about money. Let's talk about money. So we do know that money is really important, and sometimes when you travel from one place to another, especially between one country to another, let's say in India, the currency is rupees, but internationally, especially in the United States of America, the currency name is dollars. So when we convert rupees to dollar, there is always a change. But let's just take to Indian rupees, that how much is 1 rupee in terms of a paisa. So let's try to delete, make some space over here, and coming to rupees, in this story as well, we knew that the money which I was charged was 25.5. Now I'm just curious to know that which part of this number is a decimal number and which part is a whole number. So probably an interesting thing to notice that this left hand side is a whole part, and this right hand side is actually the fraction part. This right hand side, it is fraction, but because there is a point, so I'll write this as a decimal part. This is a decimal part, and in full form you can say this is a decimal fraction part. This is the decimal fraction part. So essentially what this means is that if I'm being charged rupees 25.5, what I need to do is I need to give a 10 rupee note if I have, then I can give another 10 rupee note if I have actually, and also I can give a 5 rupee note. Now am I actually done with the payment? Because 10 plus 10 makes 20 and 20 plus 5 makes 25. So am I actually done with the payment? Well, not exactly, because I'm still 0.5 rupees away. So what is 0.5 rupees actually? 0.5 rupees can be easily converted into paisa if we actually know that how much is 1 rupee. So we do know that 1 rupee equals to 100 paisa, and if you actually want to convert 0.5 rupees into paisa, what essentially you need to do is that you write 0.5, and if you want to convert into paisa, you multiply by 100, and that rupee is going to be converted into paisa. And yes, then you can write it this way, that 0.5, this point shifts over here, so this is equal to 50 paisa. So you can write that 0.5 rupees is equal to 50 paisa. We can also say that 25.5 is nothing but 25 rupees. It's nothing but 25 rupees and 50 paisa. If I write a 0 over here, I can put a sign which is P. So this is 25 rupees and 50 paisa, like this. Yeah, 25 rupees and 50 paisa. Now let's try to rub and make some space over here, and let's see that where in other departments or in other areas of our life we can use decimals. So let's try to delete, and I'm just wondering that what if I go and buy some vegetables? Yeah, I go and buy some vegetables. So now let's say I go and ask this guy that how much the potato is costing, how much the potato is costing, and the guy says to me that the potato is actually like for let's say 20 rupees, he say that I'm going to get 2.5 kg. Yeah, for 20 rupees I'm going to get 2.5 kg. Now it's a very special price, I understand, but I don't understand is that what is half kg. Like I do understand what is 2 kg, but I don't know what is half kg. So what probably I want to do is that I want to split it, and this is actually equal to 2 plus half kg, and probably this rupees part I'll indicate over here, and I'll write it this way, that 20 rupees can give me 2 kg plus half kg, and I can also write 1 by 2 as 0.5. Why? Because if you actually divide, let's try to divide 1 by 2 and see how much can we get into decimals. So if I divide this, so I get 1 by 2, 1 inside, 2 outside, 0.025 is 10. So I get 0.5 kg. So half is can be written as 0.5, and I can write 2 kg plus half kg is essentially 2.5 kg. Now one thing to understand is in decimal there are some names. So let's take an example and close this class over here, and we'll just understand that what are the names in decimals. So for example, I'll delete this, and I have this number in my mind which I'll just write, and this number could be, let's say, I'm going to write this number as 27.568, right? So what does it actually mean, this number? So obviously we know a little bit that this is my whole part, this is my whole part, and this is my decimal part, this is my decimal part. Now if I want to understand this exactly, what it means is that this 7 will represent ones or units place, and this 2 essentially will represent tens place, right? And what does it mean is that this is nothing but 27 is nothing but equal to 20 plus 7, or what it means is 2 multiplied by 10, 2 times 10, and that's why when it's times 10 we say tens, right? And this 7 can be written as 7 times 1, yeah, and that's why, because we have 1 over here, we say ones, right? But we also have in continuation something called 5. What is this 5? We say this as TENTH. What does it mean? Essentially it means this is 5 out of 10. And when we have 6 over here in second decimal place, we say it's hundredth, and eighth is thousandth. Now what does this TH indicate? TH indicate that when we have these numbers, so instead of multiplying by 10, we will divide by 10, and in opposite left hand side we can see that instead of dividing we are multiplying over here. So when we have S tens like S, we multiply by 10, and when we have 10 like TH, so instead of multiplying we'll divide by 10. So this goes over here like it will be 6 out of hundredth, so I'll divide by hundred, and it's thousandth, so 8,000. So what does 8,000 means? I'll divide by 1,000, and in decimal you could have written this way, that this is 5. So if you divide, you get 0.5, and this is 0.06, and this is 0.008, and finally if you add all of them, you should get this original number, which is 27.568. Alright, a lot of learning, and I really hope this helps in your life. Thank you.